All right, Meredith, go ahead.
The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery meeting is now convening at 8:08 a.m. on June 17th, 2021 at the Health Licensing Office in Salem, Oregon by telephone conference call. I will now call roll. Beth Iva.
Sorry, I'm here. Sorry.
Kelsey Fisher.
Here.
Lynette Pettibone.
Here.
And I'm Meredith Klein. And I'm here. Members, when you wish to speak, please state your last name for the record. For the record, public members calling into the public phone line are asked to email April Fleming at april.fleming@bhsoha.state.or.us and provide your first and last name. Public and interested parties' feedback may be heard during the public interested parties' feedback period if indicated on the agenda. Everyone is asked to use appropriate language, manners, and protocols when conducting board business. This meeting is called to order.
So, Kelsey, are you still on the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Beth, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So was that Sammy? Did you hang up on your phone? Correct. Okay, perfect. Just one, I know we lost somebody, but I didn't know who it was. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Meredith.
Well, does somebody want to move to approve the agenda?
This is Kelsey Fisher. I move to approve the agenda. I second that.
Okay, a motion has been made. Let's call roll. Kelsey Fisher.
Aye.
Lynette Pettibone.
Aye.
Beth Iva.
Aye.
Meredith Klein. Aye. So the next thing we have on our agenda is the reports.
Okay, so this is Sylvie. We're going to go through the reports. We figured we'd do this stuff first so that Syl could listen to it and not have to try and figure out how long executive sessions were going to last. So, Director's report. One thing is that, so September 16th, the board meeting, we're thinking it's not needed. Are you guys comfortable with us canceling the September 16th board meeting?
Yeah. It was a special meeting, right?
Correct. It was a special meeting, and we know for sure that Meredith Mance cannot attend. It's a holiday for her, and so we were going to either move it to accommodate her, but then we realized there was not really a huge need to have it.
Yeah, it's Yom Kippur, like the biggest holiday in the Jewish calendar. So.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. But then we just thought there's no need to try and move it and reshuffle if we don't actually need the meeting.
So let's cancel it.
Okay. The other thing is the legislative session is wrapping up. We are getting another program that's being added to us. So genetic counselors will be the new program that will get us up to 17 boards and councils in programs. And how that affects you guys is in the long run, once they're up and running, the costs will be allocated between 17 versus 16, so it'll change the percentages on some of the indirect costs. Other than that, Sammy will go through a little bit more details of the legislative session that's going on with the office, but there's not a lot that pertains to you guys this year, which is kind of nice. The other thing is for recruitment, we're still, obviously Wendy is still serving until replaced. We do not have any interest forms or anybody who's willing to, quote, take on that role. So thankfully Wendy's still serving until replaced. Other than that, we've got, it looks like Beth's second term will be up in May of 22. So then we'll be having to start recruit for a public member, but hopefully Beth will continue serving until replaced. Other than that, recruitment's going pretty good. Your positions are all filled, so that's good. But I'll move right along. On licensing and statistics reports. So for those of you that have your packets in front of you, I'll kind of go through this. But the first slide talks about licenses issued and renewals processed. So where it says 2021 quarter 3, that's January, February, and March of 21. 3 new licenses issued, and this current quarter, which is April, May, and June, we've issued 3 licenses. And then obviously process renewals. You're currently at 103 active licenses as of June 9th when we ran the reports. The next slide shows broken out by, well, it's supposed to be normally broken out by age and gender, but all of your licensees are female. But this shows the age group, so you have 1 person in the age of 18 to 25. You have 4 people in the age of 66 to 73. And again, 103 total active licenses. The next slide shows the long-term trend. So kind of a little ups and downs, but again, 103. And several years ago, you were at 97. So pretty consistent. And the next slide shows your financials. So you can see there that so far in 2021, which again starts July 1 of 20 and ends June 30th, which is the end of this month, and that's the 2021 fiscal year, or government calendar year. You can see there that expenditures are way more than the revenue being brought in. And the revenue being brought in is also a lot less than it was last year for the same time frame. So your current ending cash balance is a negative $425,309. And usually the biggest effect on your expenditures is the DOJ billing. And so we know we've gone through recently a couple cases that have gone to real close to hearing, a lot of the settlement stuff, a lot of back and forth with Heather, and that's where a lot of those expenses come into play. But does anybody have any questions on any of that? All right, we'll move on then. Let's go to policy reports. Sammy, you want to take over? You're muted if you're talking.
Okay, so starting with legislation, Sylvie went over the genetic counseling. We also have a big bill that changes scope of practice for advanced aesthetics and regular estheticians, which will be a hefty rulemaking time. We have a couple other ones. We're coming to the end now, so we have a housekeeping bill that clarifies the timeline for applicants to the Health Licensing Office for handling complaints and investigations, which has been signed by the Speaker and the President, Senate. And then House Senate Bill 358 changes authorization of practice for behavior interventionists, and that is waiting in Ways and Means, so we'll see if that comes out. And then 820 removes exception from regulation by Sex Offense Treatment Board for certain persons, and that is also in Joint Ways and Means. So we're starting to wrap up. I think signing dies June 27th, so we'll see where we are by then. Next item on the agenda is the cultural competency rule from Oregon Office of Equity Inclusion. They filed the proposed rules. They have their comment period. I have conversated with Emily Wang and Colleen Needham, and basically they have a hearings office report that hasn't been published yet. They plan on having them filed by July 1, and I have asked specifically to be added to the advisory committee that would choose all the application requirements for approval for a continuing education course in cultural competency. So just waiting on that. There's not a lot to report, just that I'm in contact with them and keeping up, and you'll know when I know. And the next report is Cynthia. Yes, Cynthia.
Thanks, Sammy. My name is Cynthia Murphy. I'm the qualification analyst for the Health Licensing Office.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
No, Serenity.
Am I still good to go, Sylvie? Okay.
No. Beth, are you still on? Kelsey, are you on?
I'm still here, yeah.
Oh, we lost Beth then. Okay.
Unknown participant is now joining.
Beth, are you back?
This is Wendy. I'm so sorry. I'm at work
hi,
today,
Wendy.
so I'm going to kind of be in and out, and I'm really sorry.
It's okay. We're waiting. We just lost Beth. She just got kicked out, and we're waiting for her to get logged back in. So Wendy, you said that you might have to leave. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm kind of, we have rounds at 9. I can try to just stay on. I can definitely stay on till then.
Till 9? Okay.
And then I might have to log off for a bit and then come back on.
Okay. Well, Wendy, we are on the agenda at the Education Committee for the LD&D stuff.
Okay.
So we've already gone through some stuff, but we haven't gotten into any of the executive sessions or anything yet, so.
Okay. I sent Sammy a name of a midwife that I got yesterday. Who was it?
Perfect.
I reached out to her, Wendy, already. Thank you.
Unknown participant is now joining.
Beth, is that you back on now?
Yeah, this is me back on. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. We'll just pause until everything gets back on, and then we thought you came back on, but it was actually Wendy.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm here now.
Okay, perfect. And then Wendy's might have to log off at 9 because we're going to do rounds then. So if she does, then we're still having this quorum struggle still.
Oh, are you going to have a quorum struggle? Okay, I can do my best to stay on then.
Well, that's why we were waiting for Beth to get back on because we're right at quorum. So now that you've added, we've got one extra.
Okay. I'll kind of keep an eye on it.
Okay, all right. Cynthia, go ahead and continue back up on the LD&D update.
All right. So again, this is Cynthia with the Health Licensing Office. I'm the qualification analyst. On April 15th of 2021, the board tasked the Health Licensing Office with assembling an education committee to review the Legend Drugs and Devices initial continuing education program. On May 5th, the HLO sent an EC membership request letter and interest form to all active and inactive licensed direct entry midwives and interested parties of the board. In addition, the HLO requested the following entities forward that letter and interest form for the Oregon Midwifery Council, the Board of Nursing, the Public Health Division, Oregon Health Authority, and the American College of Nurse Midwives. This information was also posted to the HLO website, and on that May 5th letter, we had a June 5th deadline. So as of June 3rd, the HLO had only received 5 interest forms, 1 paramedic, and 4 licensed direct entry midwives. So the HLO sent another letter on June 8th, and it was specific to needing a licensed direct entry midwife and a CNM. And so we, again, sent that to all active and inactive licensed direct entry midwives, interested parties, and then we sent it to the Oregon Midwifery Council, Legacy Health System, Salem Health, and Oregon Health Sciences University. And that deadline date on that letter was June 30th. And as of yesterday, we did get, Wendy had sent to Sammy an individual that Sammy responded to sending that letter and interest form, but we have not received that back as of yet. Does anyone have any questions? Mm-hmm.
What was the provider type of the person that Wendy had recommended?
A CPM?
No, she's a CNM.
Nurse practitioner.
Oh, excuse me, a CNM, yes.
And she was asking, she was interested and just wanted a little more information on the commitment. So I sent her the dates and, when we would likely be scheduling more since we had to push some things out. I did verify that she is a nurse practitioner, active. And I gave her the schedule, so hopefully it'll be easy for her to say yes and apply.
Great, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Sammy.
No problem.
So if she does apply, then the only individual or type of representation we're waiting for is for a licensed direct entry midwife. So out of the 7 members that the board had requested, we would have 6, and the board, we could bring it back to the board if we can't get another licensed direct entry midwife and move forward if the board wants to do that, if we can't get that 7th representative. So as of June 30th, we will know more.
If we don't get anything by June 30th, would the board be okay moving forward with just the 6, 4 midwives, 1 paramedic, 1 CNM? Or do you want to meet again on July?
I think it's fine to have just the 6 LVMs. I think our biggest concern was that it's a majority LVMs, and it sounds like it is either way.
Perfect.
I agree with that too, Kelsey.
Perfect. So what we'll do is after the June 30th deadline, if no one else has submitted their application, we will just move forward with holding the August 26th first LD&D committee meeting.
Can you repeat that date?
August 26th.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh. Did anyone have any other questions? No? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Uh-huh.
All right, we'll move on to the regulatory report. Krampus?
All right. So hopefully you guys can all see, you have a copy of this, but it just basically shows the complaints that have kind of come in and the ones that have been closed over the last couple of years. We have no current cases open in the 2017 biennium. We have, looks like we have 3 still open from the 2019-2020 biennium, and then the bulk of the cases that are still open are the ones that came in, over the last biennium. So it shows a total of 10 that are still currently open in the system. I think some of those are actually have been evaluated and are past the investigative stage and in the administration phase. But currently there are 10 that are open in the system. So, any questions? All right.
Okay, so we'll move on. Next is the COVID-19. So the plan for state government is to open the government buildings back up effective September 1. We currently are open by appointment only, but that's only for testing. So anybody who wants to come in and apply for a license or to renew a license or anything like that, they have to do it through snail mail. They're not allowed to come into the office without an appointment. That will change September 1, even though the governor's intent is to lift a lot of the mask mandates and the social distancing mandates the 21st. Hopefully that's occurred with the vaccination rate getting real close to the 70%. So irregardless of that, state offices are still not scheduled to reopen until September 1. So it's kind of where we are at on the COVID-19. Does anybody have any questions on that? I know it doesn't really affect you guys a whole lot, but. No. Okay. Well, let's go to item number 4. So Meredith, you should have a script for the public comment, and we'll see if Silke would like to make a comment.
Okay, just a sec, I gotta go back and find that. At this time, the Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will hear public interested parties' feedback. Members of the public, please wait until you have been recognized. Once recognized, please state your name and affiliation to the board for the record. So that's for you, Silke.
Hi, this is Silke Akerson. I'm a licensed direct entry midwife in Portland and the executive director of the Oregon Midwifery Council. And thanks for the opportunity.
You're on mute. So if Silke's talking, we can't hear her.
She just started. I'm sorry, Silke. They could only hear you if my microphone is unmuted. So you might want to just start from the beginning again. I apologize for that.
Okay, no worries. That's all right. This is Silke Akerson. I'm a licensed direct entry midwife in home birth practice in Portland and the executive director of the Oregon Midwifery Council. And thanks for the opportunity to give public comment. I just have 2 brief comments today. One is OMC continues to be concerned about the licensed direct entry midwifery board operating so far beyond its budget and its intake, and continue to be concerned about the significant expense of having the AAG present at the entirety of all meetings, especially when meetings are monthly. It doesn't seem wise to keep accruing this amount of debt, because in the past what that's led to is incredibly high licensing fees, which midwives can't sustain. And I've said before, and I'll say again, I think we need a long-term solution for sustainable financing or sustainable great reduction in the budget. And we're not moving in that direction. I'd love to see the board spending some real time talking about this. And then secondly,
So I'm wondering, I'm having a really hard time hearing, and I really want to hear all of your thoughts. I wonder if there's a way, is anybody else having
Maybe
trouble?
I'll try to, let me see if I can turn up the phone volume.
I think it's
This one.
Sorry, Silke.
maybe move it. Bring the phone over. Yeah, bring it over here.
And I also turned her up as well.
I'm having a really hard time hearing as well. Yeah. Okay. I was just, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Okay. I was just saying I continue to be concerned about the board operating so far beyond its budget and its intake of income. And I think that this is something that the board needs to actually spend some time talking about. I continue to be concerned that the board is, having the AAG present for the entirety of every meeting, especially when the meetings have been monthly for so long. It doesn't seem sustainable, and it seems like there needs to be a solution. I've suggested some possible legislative fixes around this before, but for that to be a reality, there would really need to be discussion from the board and from HLO about what potential ideas would or wouldn't be feasible. Like there would need to be a lot of logistical conversations about that. So that's my one comment. And then my other comment is I'm curious if we could get more information about the complaints sometime of, are there themes in the complaints? Like, do a disproportionate amount come from a particular region, or are a disproportionate amount around specific kinds of concerns? Because that information would be really useful to us in quality improvement if we know that we need to do specific work in a region or around a clinical area in quality improvement. That's all.
This is Meredith Klein. I'm just, I'm wondering if that's ever been done before. It sounds like a really fruitful idea, and I just don't know what the, if there's issues around privacy and confidentiality with sharing those things, although it would be useful for quality improvement, I agree. I guess I'm asking the people that have on the board more than I have, or the HLO staff about that.
And to clarify, I'm not talking about case level information. I'm talking about patterns. Like if you notice 30% of complaints are around hemorrhage and delayed birth of the placenta, that wouldn't identify anything about anyone, but it could identify something that's an area where we needed to be focusing on in continuing education.
Yeah, great. Well, that's a great suggestion. Thanks for making it. Does anyone else have any response? Or shall we move on?
This is Kelsey, and I also support the idea of if we could share some kind of aggregate statistics or trends. I think the purpose of our board is in the interest of public safety, and I think that quality improvement adds to public safety. So I support doing that in whatever capacity we're able.
Okay, then, I guess then we're moving on to the next item, which is what? Going back to the...
So this is Sylvie. Next item on the agenda is number 5, which is deliberate on a contested case. So you'll have a script for that.
Okay.
And then in Silka, we're gonna go. If you've seen the agenda, we're going to go in and out of a couple executive sessions. The board will come out and do some votes on some cases. You're welcome to stay on, but we're going to end up muting the phone.
Okay. The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now leave the public meeting pursuant to ORS 192.6901 to deliberate on a contested case at 8:38 a.m. on June 17th, 2021. The deliberation will not be recorded and no final decisions will be made. And report all board discussions and actions.
So Trampus, is the recording back up and running?
Are you back on?
And the phone is unmuted.
I'm going to have to redial the phone because there was nobody on it.
And you're on mute if you're responding to me.
The phone is unmuted, but Nate has to, there's nobody on it. So
I have to redial it because there's nobody on it.
Redialing it. Wait, this is it over here.
Okay.
Dude.
Oh.
It's still on.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was disconnected.
No, it's still on. It's just over here by me. Are you back on?
Yep.
We're good to go?
Okay, this is Kelsey Fisher, and I move that in cases 17-8737 and 12-7039, that we approve the settlement agreement.
Can someone second it?
This is Beth, I second. Sorry.
Okay, great. A motion has been made. I'll call roll. Kelsey Fisher.
Aye.
Lynette Pettibone.
Aye.
Wendy Smith.
Aye.
Beth Pipa.
Aye.
Meredith Klein. Aye. So that's done, passed, and now we'll go to number 7, into an executive session. Let me get the script for that. The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602F and ORS 676.595 for the purpose of considering information exempt from public disclosure at 9:07 a.m. on June 17th, 2021. Representatives of the news media shall be allowed to attend the executive session by conference call and will be provided further call-in instructions shortly. The public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. Are there any representatives of the news media on the public phone line? No. Recognizing there is no news media in attendance, the public phone line will be muted for the duration of the executive session. We will return to open session before taking any final action or making any final decisions. We are now in executive session. May once again report all board discussions and actions.
And Trampus, is the phone unmuted and the recording's going?
Veronicus is going.
How did you turn this thing off?
Oh, here, stop. There you go.
And if you're talking, you're on mute.
I am on mute, but I'm oh, there we go. I was running around the room. Yeah, we're good.
Good to go. All right, so Trampus, if you could pull up that document. I know not everybody will be able to see the screen, but we do have a request for the board to approve some supervisors. Trampus, you want to get that up and we'll share the screen. I'll read through it real quick. And then you guys can ask some questions and have your discussion. Heather, did you need to say something?
Just to note that the first bullet point, there's no complaint or deliberation decision, so we're just moving on to the second bullet point. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Thank you, Heather.
Let me get it here. It's the one that Sammy sent us yesterday. Looks like it, this one. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see here. The screen. For some reason this looks a little different than what I've got going on here.
I can share my screen.
Okay, that might be, yeah, I don't know where my button went. Oh, here, I got it.
Okay, Trampies need to make it bigger. I cannot read that for, oh, now you're back to your email. I need the document.
It should be this. Is it that?
All I see is your email.
Oh. Oh, it's over here. Okay.
Yes.
I was in the
There
right
it is.
spot to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so for those of you who cannot read this, so Jacqueline Rowan has requested the board approve some supervisors for some of her cases. She listed several supervisors, so I'm going to butcher names. Willa, Woodward Irvine, and Amy Hendrickson, Megan Pratt, Shauna Keneally, Carrie Duncan, and Megan Kopbach. Do we want to go through each individual one and have a discussion? There's also information on here that talks about how their licenses are active. I do believe they all are currently active.
I think one thing that I would like to discuss is direct supervision, and that meaning in the room. And some of these people, to my understanding, are geographically nowhere near the supervisee. So I'm just curious about the purpose of that, and if it seems reasonable to approve those folks as preceptors if they're across the state.
This is Sylvia. I think one of the things that you could potentially do is that you could approve the ones that you know are in her location, and then we can correspond with her and say these are the ones that the board approved because they're within your location. In order for them to approve the others, they would need to know whether you're going to be practicing in another location or is, kind of what's your intent. And we can ask for that for more information.
Do we have the information of where Rowan is practicing and where all these people are geographically? That would be important.
Sure, I could look up the people in our database and figure out what location their mailing address is. I cannot necessarily tell you by our database on where they work, but I can tell you where their mailing address location is. And then maybe either Trampus or Scott, do you know either one of you two know where Rowan is currently working?
Her website. I do not. I think she's still with the Good Wife Midwifery Care, right? Trampus?
I think it's actually Three Sisters.
Three Sisters.
Yeah. And I believe it's in the Medford area. I can verify that.
The website says Jacksonville, which is just west, I think, of Medford.
I would think that having somebody, it says here Megan Pratt's license was issued this year. I would not think that would be a great supervisor for a midwife who has many more years of experience. So unless we have other information on her, like she was a traditional midwife for the last 10 years and then just got a license, or moved from another state and just got a license, I would like to see more experienced midwives in general as supervisors. This is Meredith Klein. Are you guys looking up that information right now, or are we waiting? What are we waiting for?
This is Sylvie. I was just pulling up our database so that we can look up locations of individuals. Do you want me to start with the first person and go down, or is there anybody specific?
No, that would be great. I just wasn't sure what was happening in the pause.
Oh, no, you're fine. I muted myself because I didn't want everybody to have to listen to me typing on the keyboard.
I think that Willa and Amy probably makes sense. I know that they're both at a birth center in Southern Oregon. I think Rogue midwifery is their practice. And I know that they seem to train a lot of students.
That's Willa and Amy, you said, the first two?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. They seem to be busy, so I don't know what their capacity is. And maybe that's part of why we have so many options.
So apparently my computer doesn't like too many networks open. So I have you guys up and running the board meeting, and then it's trying to connect to the database. So Trampus, I don't know if anybody in the room can get Elite, our database, up and running.
I can.
Because mine's just spinning away.
Sylvie, this is Tina. No, it's not. We're slow and we're not being able to do anything right now.
The database itself is down.
Yes.
It looks
lovely.
I think in light of that, like, I'm quite certain that some of these midwives are in Portland, and I know that we have a time crunch. I wonder if we could just get a little bit more information on these midwives and supervisors, and also more information from the licensee about her intent. Like, is she wanting to go do a round at a birth center in Portland? Because I think one of these midwives is a birth center midwife in Portland. So maybe could we table this until we get more information?
Yes, absolutely. That makes total sense. So we'll do it at the next board meeting. We'll bring it back. We'll get more information from her, a little bit more justification why they're in different locations. And kind of to justify it. And then we'll also get more information on the midwife who has not had a license with us for very long, whether they came from maybe another state, were they in Oregon as a traditional, who knows. We'll get more information on all of them before you have to make a decision.
This is Lynette. I need to pop off.
Okay, so
what time?
Hold on. Sorry, Meredith, you're going to need to do your closing script.
Okay.
So we will postpone other board business to the next meeting also.
Okay.
And just unshare your screen.
Yeah, done.
The Board of Direct Entry Midwifery meeting is adjourned at 10 a.m.
Okay, Lynette, thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah, thanks. See you guys later.